Hello, welcome to my introduction video for my Ruby command line interface gem project. I wanted to start with a little bit of background about where my idea for the gem came from. And it started with a word guess game that I built. A very simple word guess game. You give your opponent a number of attempts to guess, a secret word to guess. Then if your opponent guesses a correct letter and submits it, it will populate here. And if they guess an incorrect letter, they lose a guess, and the missed letter shows up here. So this is a game that operates exactly how you would expect it to for the most part. Ta-da! So you can click a button here to start the game over, but it would be really nice if you had a way to source words, a button here, for example, that would generate a random word for you so you could play against the computer. And that's something that doesn't exist yet. So I thought, well, how do I build an application that will allow me to source those random words? And so the first idea was to visit merriam-webster.com and check out this neat browse the dictionary function that they have here. So if you visit a letter, you can get all of the words that start with that letter, and then of course you can also get a range of sub-index pages here. So in order to grab one of these words from one of the sub-index pages and have that word be truly random, instead of just landing here on the first page for each letter, you need to randomize in the range of letters A through Z, and then also randomize in the range of sub-index pages for each letter. So this was kind of neat that you could see this here and also see it in the HTML. So that in the DOM here, so that as you selected a random like C, for example, you could see it also had a range for its sub-index pages, and that's a different than what A had. So you have to go in and actually grab this range first and then create a random number utilizing that range. So I thought, okay, well, great. And then I can come in and scrape all of the words that are published on each one of these pages and return them back to the user. But I took one additional step, and that was to suggest that maybe words of a shorter length were easier and a longer length would be harder. So I thought I'll use 3 arrays, and I'll take all of the words that are 5 letters or less and put them in one array. Between 5 and 10 would go into another array, and then 10 or more letters would go into a third array. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the code for the gem looks like. So what we're going to do first is, when we run the programs, we're going to come into the command line interface, and that is run by this program loop here. So from the command line, we're going to actually instantiate this command line interface object. And we're going to use the call method, which is going to welcome the user. And that's going to call the very next method, which is the level method. That's going to prompt the user for input, the letter E, M, or H, depending on whether or not we want easy, medium, and easy, medium, or hard word. And then it's also going to run the loop and give you an option to quit the loop. So it's going to capture that input, use a case statement to call one of these other methods that also are part of this command line interface. And so if you select either easy, medium, or hard, the first thing that it's going to do is going to call a method in our from our word class. And it's going to call the method based on your selection. And the very first thing, if you visit the word class, is the word class itself. So for example, if you call the easy method here, it's gonna visit the word class, and the word class more or less straight away calls a scraper and a method from the scraper class. And each of the methods, easy, medium, or hard, all operate in pretty much the same way. They each call a scraper. The scraper goes out to merriam-webster.com and collects the information and brings it back to you. So let's take a quick look at what were to happen. The first order would be easy, random word by length, word easy. That would bring us here. Random word by length, easy. We would create a reference variable that would point to another method call for get easy word. Get easy word exists here in the scraper class. Get easy word is a method here that relies on these larger scraper functions or methods for its source, and basically builds the arrays, instantiates the arrays, and then uses the each iterator to iterate through the return value of the scraper methods and then load the arrays. And it does that for the easy, medium, and hard methods. So what does that scraper look like? That's the first level of data access. And what does that scraper look like? So if we go to the top of the scraper method, you'll see what the first method here is what gets our random letter from A to Z. Once we capture that letter, then we go in and we get the range. This is the main letter page. It's the URL that utilizes this random letter. And then we have to go in and get the subpage. So that's what this method does, is it finds the range here, the page 1 of however many, and then makes a random selection from that range. And then that is what's used to build the URL that actually brings us to that subpage. Then this is the page that actually goes out and scrapes that subpage. So we find all the instances of each word, and we load the entire page first. So all of the columns of the subindex page, all of the words, and then we break them down into smaller arrays this way with each of these methods. So once those arrays have been loaded, they are returned back to the word class, and these are essentially ready to be delivered back to the user at this point because they were initially called, the method chaining was initially called here in the CLI, but that's just for the first level of data access. When you come in and you're prompted here through the CLI, after the word has been delivered to you, your easy word is, your medium word is, so forth, you're given the option to prompt for further details about the particular word. And some of the details that you're going to get, if you look at the attributes that are assigned for the word, is you're going to get the spelling. It's pretty straightforward. The definition is the kind of most interesting piece of data in the second level of data access. Then the kind of word is really is whether or not the word is a noun, an adjective, what is the type, an adverb, whatever it might be. And I wanted to add synonym data, but that proved to be a little bit tricky because of the way that synonym data is organized from the source, from thesaurus.com. So what I did instead was I added a URL that would point to synonym data for whatever the random words are. So in a sense, you get an attribute that's a pointer towards another URL. So that's how the program works. The second layer of data access is also scraped with this kind of busy looking method here, which is get word attributes. And I noticed that depending on the kind of word that was returned, sometimes you would get a variant spelling or a plural of a parent word, and that would be a word where you would land at, and then it would actually give you the option of redirecting to the single or the singular form of the word or the more common spelling of the word. And so in order to kind of normalize that data for this program, I went ahead and did the redirection so that my CSS selectors would be more uniform. So that was one challenge that I had to deal with initially. And then there was another conditional that would be a problem. You'd have another CSS variation when the random word was a geographical place. You wouldn't have the same CSS selector, class selector, ID selector for those words. So I needed to build a conditional in here to handle those different cases. And then I would find those attributes and load them into an attribute array, and then deliver those back to the CLI. So let's take a quick look at what the CLI looks like. If you want to see how it's accessed from the web, you can visit rubygems.org and search for random word by length. And that'll actually bring you here. Let's see. So there it is. And if you click in, you have a couple of different ways. You have the gem file and the installation option here. And you can also click this homepage link, which will bring you to my GitHub profile. And you can clone or download the repository here. If once you do that, there is a very simple command to run the command line interface, and it's ruby bin / random -word -by -length. So once you execute this command, it launches the program. Welcome to random word by length. What difficulty level of word would you like? Easy, medium, or hard? So let's start with an easy word. So this is oh, I wasn't expecting this. Undefined method value for no class. No method error. Oh, that's interesting. I guess we collected a nil value on the first run through, and I thought I had just updated all the gems. So okay, well let's just see before I go in and change the code. Let's just see if this works. Okay, so I did get a response the second run through, which produces the word that it collected. So it picked the random word M and the subindex and loaded everything and returned it back a 5-letter word called mulse. Pronounced mulse and spelled mulse. Would you like the definition and other details? Yes. So the word mulse is of type noun, 5 letters long. Definition, a beverage of honey mixed with wine or water. Synonyms may be found here. Would you like another random word? Yes. And of course, you can go here. A beverage of honey mixed. I don't expect to see a whole lot of synonyms for, no thesaurus results. But sometimes it's really neat to have that right there. Let's see. Let's try a medium word. Vapori. Would you like the definition and other details? Yes, vapori. It's a combining form. It's 7 letters long. The definition, vapor. Synonyms. Let's see. And sometimes thesaurus redirects you to what it thinks is the most closest reference for what you're looking for. Let's see. I would like to try a hard word. Explicatory. Would you like the definition? Yes, please. It's an adjective and it is 11 letters long. The definition, explicative. Great. This is actually very explicative. And I think we will get a list of synonyms for this. So this is kind of fun. Yes. Annotative, clarifying, exegetical. Nice. Okay. I like some of these words. Hermeneutical. So, well, anyway, I hope that, so let's see here. So we've done an easy, a medium, and a hard word. I hope you thought that that was not too boring or too long. And I want to say thank you very much for spending the time to check out the video. If you're interested, it's rubygems.org. And you can also check out my word guest game at neilmryan.com. And then I also want to say thank you to Avi and the rest of the instructors and content creators at flatironschool.com. Thank you very much.